Chris fights back on the outside. See the yellow stripe on Jennifer's truck. Most of these racetracks are brand new to her.
Good corner for Jennifer. She does drive around Chris Fontaine. New crew chief this week for Jennifer Joe. She's real excited about her chances. This girl can go, Phil. We've seen her in qualifying. She can really wheel a truck and doing really well here in traffic. You can see that truck's wanting to wobble with her a little bit. It looks loose, doesn't it?
Sure does. And that may bode well for her later on, being loose now, because everyone feels like these trucks tighten up as they burn the fuel off and the tire pressures build up.
David Starr on the inside of that 7 of Justin Lofton taking the position. This week in the 60, it's Stacy Compton piloting that truck. Lorraine Karthikeyan drove it at Martinsville a week ago. Just wanted to get that name in.
Good job.
Kevin Harvick trying to get back by the 5 of Mike Skinner.
That's a battle for the 5th position. Kevin Harvick marching his way to the front. 4 laps completed, already up into the top 5.
Whoa.
Well, not necessarily.
In practice, Kevin Harvick was dominant once again. We thought it was going to be the same way, but it looks like he's struggling just to get around Skinner right now for 5th.
Well, remember, his truck in qualifying was very, very loose, and it was very, very loose in his mock qualifying run. But again, that's going to get better, like we just talked about with Jennifer Jo Cobb. So he really feels like he has a terrific truck for the race. It may take a few laps to get there, but he is marching towards the front.
You could see that Skinner ran into that turn a lot further than Harvick did, but when you're down on the bottom, Phil, you can't charge the corner. You don't have that wall of air to lean on. The truck that's on the outside of you, it takes that air away. So if you're down on the inside and you're a little bit loose, you're going to be a whole lot loose. Watch these two as they race down into turn 3. You can see Harvick has the preferred lines, got the position taken from Skinner.
I think it's all over at this point.
But watch Skinner. I'm going to drive her on in here, Kev. You better hold on. And that's what Skinner does. It gets Harvick a little bit loose. That shows you can run high and low here, but it's faster to go low.
And the experience of Kevin Harvick said if he'd have jumped back in the throttle to try to race with Skinner through the center of the corner, he may have got loose, maybe even spun out. That's where his experience comes in.
And when we talked to Skinner before the race, he was afraid he was going to be a little bit tight. He said his truck pushed in qualifying. He qualified up near the front, but said it was tight, and that meant, like you said, Phil, Jennifer Jo was loose. She probably said, okay, good, it'll get better. If you're tight when it starts, it'll get worse.
Kyle Busch out in front of the field by almost a second now. Here's a battle for 7th and 8th.
A little contact there for a second.
Teammates, by the way. Eric Almirola in the 51 and Stephen Wallace in the 15. There's that second difference between 1st and 2nd. Matt Crafton running 2nd.
Shows you how important Steve thinks it is to get to the bottom. He tried to get to the bottom before his teammate had gone by and hit him in the right rear. That was just trying to get down to the bottom of the racetrack before Todd got there. But then obviously the contact between the two made that move not work out.
Here's Brad Keselowski. The first time we've seen him. That's the 29 truck. That's the first time that he's run a truck with his own team as a Dodge. This is his first race for a Dodge. Obviously, everyone knows he drives for Penske Racing, drives Dodges on the Sprint Cup Series and the Nationwide Series. But first race in a Dodge for Brad.
Yeah, and his crew chief over there at Penske on the Nationwide car, Paul Wolf, he was down in the garage area up underneath the front of this truck. They had it at Penske's all week on the pull-down rig. So this is a full-blown effort for Brad, a new Dodge, like you said, Penske engine, and his crew from Penske Racing helping him get it all sorted out.
And we saw Rick Crawford make the pass on Stephen Wallace. That took 9th position away from Stephen Wallace. So Crawford with a good run here at Nashville early on. Kyle Busch has been dominant, though. After starting on the pole, he has led every lap as we've completed 10, and he is on number 11. Again, Kyle Busch trying to be the spoiler tonight and win another guitar from Nashville Superspeedway. Can he do it? Stay with us. And welcome back to Nashville Superspeedway. Monday night, you can discover NASCAR Nation's next great superstar. Don't miss a special encore edition of Fast Track to Fame from Atlanta Motor Speedway, Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed.
Mikey, you know a little bit about that show, don't you?
Sometimes they sound a little pitchy, dog. But that's a tough job to jump up on that stage and just sing your guts out, and all those fans and people standing around watching. I understand how hard it is.
How good does the 18 look already? There are 6 trucks that are at least a lap down, and Kyle is trying to put a couple more a lap down. He has almost 3 seconds now between himself and second place. Matt Crafton, Timothy Peters running 3rd. Hornaday and Harvick round out our top 5. Then it's Skinner, Bodine, Almirola, Wallace, and Crawford, your top 10.
Dylan Oliver, he took that corner away from Kyle Busch. I'm sure it surprised Kyle a little bit. Looked like he thought about popping him in the tailgate and saying, don't do that again, but he gave Dylan a break. Got a 3-second lead. You can be patient as you work your way through traffic. I like that move I saw from Kyle there. You know, he let Dylan have the corner and said, I'll get you next one.
Yeah, really slowed him down about 3/4 of a second, maybe even to a second of what he's been running, but he knows he's got a great truck. There's no sense pushing the issue right now.
Ray Dunlap.
You know, Rick, when we went to Daytona, Kyle Busch Motorsports team had to buy some trucks from Roush Fenway. They didn't have time to build super speedway trucks, but they have built a few new ones, and the truck that Kyle is driving tonight is one of those. It's chassis number 2. Kyle drove this truck for the first time at Atlanta. He just came on the radio a few moments ago, said to his crew chief, Eric Phillips, no issues. Do not touch it when we pit. Adam?
Running third right now is Timothy Peters, a couple of positions behind the aforementioned Kyle Busch. He said he is loose. He got a quick reply on the radio from his crew chief, Jeff Hensley. Don't worry about that. We can fix it. The tendency for this track is to tighten up as the race continues, and now 3 wide as Hornaday goes to the inside and makes the pass of Peters for that third position. And just behind these guys, a very nice move to the field in the early going for Todd Bodine. Driver 30 started 14th, and he has worked his way into the top 10, currently in the 7th position. He too says the truck is loose.
As quickly as I said, there were only 6 drivers that were a lap down. We've added 4 more to that list, so we're up to 10 drivers already a lap down that Kyle Busch has been setting a blistering pace and been able to go by. Take a look at him going by some of the traffic now on the racetrack.
Dennis Setzer there.
Yeah, in the 92. I mean, he's not going by any slouch on the racetrack at all.
Brett Butler looked like had a little right rear fender damage to that FuelDoctor.com truck, so he's struggling.
Yeah, he's been to pit road, too. He's already being shown 4 laps down.
Take a look at how quickly he came up on the back of that 92 of Dennis Setzer.
I think Dennis thought about maybe going around the outside of Brett Butler, and Brett kind of slid up the racetrack. Dennis had to get on the brakes, and Kyle just turned it hard left and drove by both of them. Great to see a sponsor on board, that 18 truck too. Dollar General, which is based here in Nashville, came on board to sponsor this truck. So
they've been
thank you to them.
They've been a great friend to this NASCAR garage area, sponsoring cars in the Nationwide Series. They're going to run some races in the Cup Series, I believe, this year. And now they're on Kyle's truck here in Nashville. They thought that might be a pretty good chance for him to get a win. Wouldn't you think that's a good thing?
I think that's a pretty good thing.
Look at Skinner. Where's he going to go? Look at all this traffic these guys are dealing with.
On the remember back in 2006, we opened the vault between those 2 drivers, Todd Bodine and Mike Skinner. Ooh, a little
still
loose
there,
in front
outside.
That's the 84 right
still
there.
Chris Fontaine.
I talked to him this morning down in the garage area, Phil. Kevin Harvick put the body on that truck for him. He went to Pro Motors and got him an engine. He's trying to do what Kevin had done. Talked to Chris, his mom's his main sponsor, and she said, let's get us some good stuff and just run a few races. And I love his attitude. He's all into this deal and struggling here early in the going. Looks like his truck was really loose.
But he had a great top 20 finish at Atlanta, so good start to the season.
And we've heard that story before, and from the guy who won the Daytona race earlier this year. Timothy Peters was struggling, had his family sell the Indy 500 pace car.
Can you believe that? They sold that car just so he could go race.
So he could continue racing, and we see that a lot with different families.
There's Johnny Sauter right there. Remember, Johnny had to go to the back of the pack because of unapproved adjustments after qualifying. He's made his way up into the top 20, now currently being shown in a 17th position.
He had a rough finish to that last race. Wasn't too happy about it either.
I think he wanted a little bit better position at the end than he ended up.
And I was talking to Joe Shear, Johnny's crew chief in the garage area yesterday, and he said the thing was, you know, maybe we'd already used our stuff up by the time we got up there. If Ron would have waited a little while, he'd have just driven by us. The thing is, he knocked us out of the way, and it cost us a top 5 finish, and that's what they were most upset about, is the fact that he lost that finish. Now, you know, I don't think Ron Hornaday intentionally knocked him out of the way, but inevitably that's what happened. And unfortunately, he did not get a good finish.
You know, race car drivers, they just don't want you to take anything from them. I mean, if you earn it, fine, but don't just knock me out of the way and steal it from me. And I think Johnny felt like they got stolen from him.
Double A.
And it really killed their momentum in relation to 2010, Michael and Rick, because they started out the year with a very tough run at Daytona, but 8th at Atlanta. They knew they were